Hi everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. Today we are going to play with color. We are also going to be doing a bit of a test, but I'm not really sure it's a test, more so just to see how things set up with Mix2Mold. One of my subscribers had brought to my attention that they were getting spots on their Mix2Mold, and I have seen that in other videos that other people have done where it looks a little splotchy, and I said I can do a video on that. I have all 4 colors, and as much as it's not Christmas, and I know there's the Christmas theme in July, this seemed to be a pretty good mold to be able to do some testing with, just to see how the Mix2Mold, if it's going to come out splotchy. Now I'm trying to think, I'm trying to think what they had done. I think it was a bowl with a lid or something like that. Anyways, I don't think it matters. I don't think. So all I'm going to do is I have 20 mils of each color, the green, blue, pink, and purple. And they had used purple, but I thought I've got all 4 colors. Let's do this. Let's use a Christmas mold and let it sit, let it set, take them out, see how they look when we take them out. We will also see what they look like a day later to see if there's been any difference. So I'm going to do my best just to mix these all up, you know, the same amount of time, what have you. We're going to do one at a time because there's no way I'm going to, you know, mix all 4 and then pour them. I find with this, it really is better to just do one at a time, because then I'm not so flustered. I'm getting better. I have to admit, I'm getting better working with it. I'm not freaking out as much as I was at the beginning, going, oh, you got to get this mixed up, you got to get this poured before it starts to set up, which I think that comes with time. If you're finding the way I did at the beginning when I started working with this, just know that as you start working with something and you keep doing more and more of it, you are going to get better at it. You are going to find the tips and tricks that work best for you. And I'm highly going to recommend, like Tim Holtz does, you do you. It just makes sense. It's sometimes even when I'm watching other people's videos that I get wrapped up in what they're doing and thinking I've got to be able to do the same, and why are they getting different results? And I have to let that go. So I'm going to just put that out there. Just you do you, and work with it, play with it, get creative with it, have fun with it. Most importantly, have fun with it. Because as soon as, and I find this for myself, as soon as I start getting stressed out or anxious, yeah, things start going sideways for me. And that it takes away from the enjoyment of working on it. And let's get going with this. Okay, we'll start with the green. I have, as I said, I have 20 mils. 6 mils of water. I have some extra at the side. I always keep extra water on the side just in case I need it. Just in case. Because I have found occasionally that for whatever reason it's not enough, and that's rare, but it does happen. So either my scale is off, which I sometimes think it has a bit of an issue, and you know, it doesn't always work, but I do pay attention, and I will remeasure things if I think I need to. Okay, so here we go with the green. Put the green. A green star doesn't make sense, but since I don't have yellow, okay, let's just pour this. I don't need to take my time pouring this. I'm seeing here thing, and there's, like I said, all this is the Mix2Mold with water. There's nothing, we haven't added anything to this. There's no colorant, there's no nothing in this. It's just the Mix2Mold and water. And I'm just gonna drop that a little bit, try and get rid of some of those air bubbles you see on top. Now I have used my long neck glider, right or wrong to doing this, but to get rid of some of the bubbles. I'm very careful and I'm very quick doing that. Okay, next we have the blue. Let's see what this does. Goes blue, right? I want to thank everyone who has commented. It's so interesting to see the videos that are getting a lot of hourly view time, and those that don't. And I like sort of adding variety to what I do. But yes, I thank you all very much for liking, for everyone who's subscribing. We're doing really well growing the channel, which is awesome. I finally learned how to set up a wish list on Amazon. That was kind of interesting in and of itself. But I'm going to set one up for both US and Canada. I went through the analytics and noticed there are a lot of people from the US, but I have to admit, I love that there are people from all around the world. We have Australia, we have Canada, we have US. I know we have the UK. I'm trying to think. Those are the ones that stand out the most. The US is by far my highest, but I have to admit, being a Canadian, I love that I've got Canadians watching. So thank you very much to all the Canadians, and thank you to everyone, because you're all really important to this channel. Okay, moving on to the pink. So I'm curious, is there anyone else who has, when working with the colors and just the colors, not adding anything to them, have you found that they're turning out that you're getting splotches, and the one subscriber had wondered if maybe they weren't letting it dry out enough and that it was just a timing issue with it. And I know I've done a couple of pieces with the colored, but I hadn't noticed it myself, but I wasn't really, it was near the beginning when I started working with this. But I would be curious if you've worked with the Mix2Mold, the colored Mix2Mold, if you have noticed that your pieces appear to be splotchy, because I'd like to know. And has it remained that way, or have you found that in time, like as it's been drying out, that those disappear? Because I think it's helpful to know. I think it makes people feel better when they can, ask those kind of questions and get someone else doing it, and just to be aware of, oh, okay, it's not me. It's like the molds that I had issues with. That it wasn't just a me thing. Other people were having the same problem, and the company, had acknowledged, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the air bubbles and that. The company had acknowledged that yes, we know that there's a problem, and they're working on a solution for that, which is great. I mean, you like getting feedback like that, because it's very helpful to the company. It's helpful to people who are using the product to know, oh, okay, they are aware and they're fixing it. I think that's, incredibly important from a company standpoint, that they're aware of and that they're doing something about it. Okay. So I appreciate Bria Reese and Mix2Mold, one and the same, taking the time and acknowledging that, yes, we had a problem, we're fixing it. All right, purple. I do love these colors. They're so pretty. A yellow would be cool. If anyone wanted to come out with a yellow, that would be really cool. Oh, and I did notice in Michael's, for anyone who shops at Michael's, that, and who is it? There's another company that has come out with a similar Mix2Mold product, or I shouldn't say, not a similar Mix2Mold. Let me rephrase that. Another company that has come out with a ceramic resin product. And I wish I could remember who it was. It's new out. They're not selling it in my store, so online says they're not selling it in my store. I will put it in the comments below. And it is how can I put this? It's a powder and a liquid, and I much prefer just powder and I add water. It's a powder and a liquid. I don't remember the name of the company. Anyway, I'll put that in the comments below so that you are aware of what it is. So here we go. We've got the 4-poured. I do have air bubbles. But I'm gonna leave it alone. Just bang this a little bit. we'll have to let this set. Now, before we go on, and so I don't forget in my next video, and I'm just watching my camcorder, my video camera for time because it's starting to check down with the battery power. Okay, you saw me do this turtle. Took it out of the mold in one of the videos that I just recently did. I do want to comment, and I think it's really important that with the way I did this, and I had done 2 separate batches, I had put it's the Stampin' Up that's in this, the Stampin' Up ink, and then else. But if you're working with products that you're just putting drops in and then pouring it, you'll notice that those colors, like, they don't really soak down into the product. They more sit on the top, and then you'll find that the intensity of the color is on the top, like once it sets up and whatnot. So what I want to bring to your attention is something that I found when I put my first coat of the Mix2Mold sealer on this. I used the glossy, was that the colors or the colorant that I had used in it were coming off of my paintbrush. I had to get a paper towel, and I was brushing the colorant off of my paintbrush onto that so that I wasn't marking up other parts of the turtle, because these colors over here were getting into my green, which I didn't want to have happen. I did 1 coat. I am letting this stuff sit for usually 24 hours, and I mark down. So if I did a coat yesterday, I would put down yesterday's date, the time I did it, so the next day, which would be today, you know, I'm always usually waiting 24 hours, because as much as they say 2 hours, I just want to give it a full 24 hours. I wanted you to be aware of that. So do a small test so that you can make sure that you're not pulling color, and it may only be because of the pigment color I'm using it that's causing it. I did a piece with Jade Diction Resin-Crete dye. I had a bit of a problem in some spots, not all, and I think it's the darker colors that might be a bit of an issue. So be very careful and test. What was interesting was when I put the second coat on, I still had a little bit of color coming off of it, which really surprised me. So I'm just sharing this with you so you are aware that when you're putting, especially if you're brushing it on, to be aware of that. And I don't want you to see have an issue with a piece, because, you know, the darker colors all of a sudden ended up on your lighter color and it's already drying up. Have a piece of paper towel. I mean, you may even want to have some water nearby, but you have to work kind of quickly with this stuff, because it does, again, it starts to get tacky rather quickly, which that's my finding anyway. But I wanted to share that with you so that you were just, you know, aware if you were, you know, brushing something on. I know there's people who use sprays, there's people who use waxes. I don't have much experience with the waxes, but I just wanted you to be aware, because that's what I had found. I love the way I'm doing it. I know I have to be careful moving forward. Anyway, enough about that. That's an FYI for you. We are going to let these set up. When they're ready to be taken out of the mold, we will come back. We will see how they look. Then we will wait 24 hours. I'm going to let these sit for 24 hours after that, and we'll see what we get. I'll see you in a bit. It has been just over an hour since we poured these pieces. And for me, it's really important, especially when you have holes like this up near the top, that I leave it for at least what they're recommending, because I don't want these pieces breaking. Even though they're not in, quote, Christmas colors, I can still do something with these. So I don't want to run the risk of breaking them, because if I break them, then what? And maybe some of you have ideas to the then what. I just don't want to break it. So I'm going to be very careful taking these out. These, as I feel the top, they're a little, when I say rough, they're not rough. They're a little granular, a little bit. Not bad though. And that can easily be fixed with some very light sanding, with a light grit sandpaper. So I'm thinking 600 plus, maybe even 1,000 plus. Okay, so let's have a look at these while they're in their mold. And I want to make sure they're all in. There we go. In. So I don't know how well you can see it because of my camera. This has sort of some white blotchy spots in it. It specifically really does around the edges too. And I don't know if that's because that's sort of a part where it hasn't, really had a chance to dry fully. And, the water is evaporating sort of out of the center first. I don't know. But when we take them out, you'll be able to see more about what I'm talking about. And the blue one, and then this, that's the pink. I'm trying to think, what are my colors? The blue, then the pink. I've sort of noticed more of that than the purple or the green. Having said that, the green's got a bit. But anyway, let's just very carefully get these out of here. Very carefully. And I tend to pull my molds. I know silicone can handle, some pretty, well, I wouldn't go too crazy with them, but just, yeah, they can handle some stretching. And I tend to do that. Like I pull the piece away from the mold just because I think that's helpful in getting them out. So the tree we're going to have to be careful with because of the size of the molds. The 20 mils doesn't go as far on the tree as it did on the star. And it's only because it's a bigger piece. And we're going to be really careful with our stocking here because of where the hole is. It's very close to that corner. Okay, and we carefully bring it out. And I'm thinking of actually putting some decoupage on these guys once they're ready to be, once they can handle a sealer. So let me get that out of the way. Throw that off to the side so it doesn't get in our way. And let's have a look at these with our black cardstock, which I absolutely love. This black comes in so handy when we're dealing with something like this. So let's put these down. And these are this is the side that was up to us. And we'll turn these over in a second. I want you to be able to see, and we'll move this back so you can see better. Okay. So this is how they look, and I'm going to bring each one up to closer to the camera for you so that you can see what we're dealing with on this side. So let's take the blue up. So it has some, what looked like sort of granular in there to me. And along the edge, it's a darker blue. Like I mixed these fairly. I didn't mix one more than the other. I'd say I spent the same amount of time on all of them in order to give us a true test. That's our Christmas tree. Our star has a piece of glitter in it. Doesn't anymore. Anyways, there's our star, and it has the green. It must be because it's up against the mold, and that's why we're not getting it as dry looking. But this is patchy. I can see some lighter versus the darker green in that one. My purple, I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't fair. Okay, so here's my purple, which doesn't look too bad, but again, we do have some spots within it. And then the pink. The pink, I think, is really obvious to me, where you can see there's different shades of pink in there. Now again, we're limited to the time we can spend working with this product. How much time? Could I have spent more time? Maybe. Could I have used my whisk? Absolutely. But I'm not wanting to sort of put myself in panic mode by mixing it too much and not getting poured soon enough. So it's that happy medium resin that gives us a little bit more time to play with it, to get it properly mixed, to make sure everything's sort of fused in, if you will. Okay, let's go and see what the other side looks like. So this is the downside. And when I say downside, I mean this is the bottom in my mold. And there's more, you can see more of a difference in there. There. Okay. Here's our pink at the bottom. Like that. Okay. So I get it more into view for you. And I don't know if I'm bringing these closer and it's not as clear. I apologize. Okay. Here's the green. And there is some blotting, splotching in there. Green's coming off of my hands much easier than the other colors are. And I'm trying to only handle them by the sides because I know these are not perfectly dry. Okay, and that's the blue, which also has, I can see sort of white spots on it, or paler blue. I really shouldn't call them white. They're the color of the Mix2Mold ceramic resin. It's just they're different shades of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I am going to set these aside for 24 hours so that we have time to let the moisture out of these. We will come back and we will see if so for example, the purple is a really good example. If those lighter spots fade away as this dries. Because I'm thinking with the drying process, I'm actually expecting that those darker shades may lighten up a little bit, which will mean it'll blend better. Again, how long do you mix this up for? I don't have an answer for that. Am I not mixing it well enough? I don't know. I think of seeing these sides that I think the pink did the best, and I don't think I spent any more time mixing the pink up than I did the other colors. Is there something different? I wouldn't think there would be anything different from a product related in the other colors aside, different from the pink. I don't know. And I would be curious if other people have been, you take it out, you're noticing this, and has it sort of evaporated out as these pieces have dried. I think I mentioned in one of my other videos about putting the pieces up on sticks like this. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that the airflow can get all around them. Do you need to do that? I don't know, but I just decided I was going to do it. Okay, so we will set those aside and I will come back to you in 24 hours and we'll have another look at these and see what's going on. And I think either way, regardless of what we come up with, for me, I'll probably let these pieces sit for 2 to 3 days. I guess I look at it like resin. Resin, will fully cure, yes, in 24 hours, but you really should let them sit for 72 to a week. Anyway, that's that. I did want to bring your attention back. While these were setting up, I did put another coat of Mix2Mold Glossy on my turtle. So this is coat number 3 that I've put on here. Again, as I say, I've been leaving at least 1 day, and I believe there were 2 days between the second and the third coat. I'm going to show you what I mean by wanting to be really aware of what you're using in this and applying your sealer. So you'll see by these markings here, those are from me putting the third coat on and the coloring's still coming off of this thing. I wasn't expecting it with the second coat, and I certainly wasn't expecting it with the third coat. So I was cleaning out my brush. As I had indicated earlier in this video, I was doing the darker side first and then going over to the lighter side. And it was the one that was coming out more. Some of the green on the other side came up, as you can see by this. I just wanted you to see this so that you could be aware of, I would test. I'm going to do some more testing. I'm going to play with some other products. Because even though I'm using different colorants than perhaps one might use or what might be suggested, I figure if I'm using a water base, I wasn't expecting coloring to come off on this, on the third, go around. I'm going to put 5 coats on this guy. And once the top is done, and I've left it for, I'll probably leave it 2 or 3 days before I'll start on the bottom. I'll do the bottom. I'm going to put 5 coats on this. And then I'm going to find an outdoor in the sun, not directly where he can get wet, but I want to put him somewhere and see how the product stands up to it being outside. The container says 3 coats if it's going to be wet. I'm putting 5 coats on it just for my own peace of mind. I'm going to put 5 coats on and then find some place outside where, yes, it may get some weather, but not direct in sun, not direct in getting wet, to see, you know, how it stands up and what happens. Again, I'm going to be doing more testing with other products. I want to go to my local hardware store and see what they recommend from I kind of look at that like cement. So what have they got that can coat cement that will have the durability of something like that being outside? There we have it. That's all I've got for now. 24 hours. We're going to come back and we're going to see where we're at with these 4 pieces. I'll see you then. We are at the next day where we get to look at these. These have been sitting for about 24 hours now. I had done them first thing yesterday morning. We're going to have a look at these and, you know, get an idea of how they look. Now, I think I have them all the right way up, but let me see. Yeah, I do. Okay. This is how they look the next day. And we can see that there is a bit of difference in color on this side with the stocking. I'm looking at this and I, you know, immediately thought to myself, I can wet sand these down. I can, you know, with a high grit. So when I say high grit, I mean 600 plus grit sandpaper to get rid of some of the discoloration, if you want to call it that. The other side looks pretty good. As far as I'm thinking, because of the water drying out of these pieces and then finally sort of setting, that we don't have the discoloration that we originally had. So I think the water is what's causing some of this blotching that's on the pieces. I can see a couple of little spots here, but if you're not looking for them, and that's the big thing, you as an artist, a creative, we tend to see things that other people wouldn't see. And I know that from personal experience. I see things and I get other people to look at them. You know, can you see the imperfection in whatever I've created? And they look at it and go, no. We have to be careful that we don't allow our own, you know, perfectionism, if you want to call it that, come through, because it's not helpful. I know that personally. The blue one, again, it's spotty on this side. This was the side that was up in the mold. Again, I would just sand that down. The other side looks pretty good. I mean, I have one spot there and I have, you know, yes, some weight, but again, are you really is that going to be really obvious to other people? You could sand this down a little bit too to see if it makes a difference at the end of the day. Our green one, again, I would sand this side down. Now, my thingy isn't clean here, so I'm just going to wipe this down. The green came out pretty good. I think it's just a matter of letting them dry out. Yes, mixing them is incredibly important, and that would be with anything. We know that with resin, that we have to make sure we mix it really well. And I would say that's the same for this product. Even though we're sort of limited on time, getting it mixed up properly would be important. And this one came out. Yes, I can see some white dots on it. Again, not overly concerned about that. And what are you doing with it after? Are you, you know, leaving it? From an ornament perspective, these for me are kind of boring, so I would dress them up either with decoupage. I would put a stencil of some sort on them. I just dress them up a little bit, and then that's going to cover it up for you. So this top side I would sand down. And then the other side, yes, I could sand it down if I wanted it to. I'd probably end up decorating these anyway. I wanted to do this video because it was important, because of one of the subscribers having commented about having issues with their purple specifically. Their piece was purple, and I'm hoping that by the time they see this video, that their piece has dried out enough, or maybe they've, taken the time to sand it down a little bit to see if that doesn't help with the situation. Is any product going to be perfect? We probably would prefer it were, or, as close to being perfect as possible. But when I think of myself, I know I'm not perfect. And so I'm learning to give lenience to some products. I want them to be the best they can be, but occasionally, you know, I'm willing to work with or find ways I can work around if I have a problem with something, or I just don't buy it again. But I do like this product. I absolutely love the fact that they came out with a product that was already colored. So I really like that about the Mix2Mold, is they've done that. I don't know if J Diction is thinking about doing that. I know I've seen some surveys on Facebook about different things that they want to, or products they want to bring out in the near future, and I can't remember if this is one of them. But it's nice to have a product that's already colored, and then if you want to add color to it and make it more vibrant, you have that option. So that is that test. I did mention earlier in this video about Alumilite coming out with a new product. I went on Michael's website. It is called Alumilite Amazing Hydrocast Mineral Casting Compound Starter Kit. I had to write that down. That's a really big title for this stuff. Anyway, I'm hoping to be able to do a video on that in the upcoming weeks to see what it's like. And when it says starter kit, it's got colorants. I believe it's got molds. It's got the compound. Now, it is a powder and a liquid. I've never worked with that before, so that should be interesting for me. I'm hoping it's a really straightforward product, but I guess I'm going to find that out. But I'm going to do a video on it when I finally have it, and so that you can see. And it, you know, it's kind of nice because then we're getting more options available to us as to what we can find out there. Find the product that fits us the best, because what fits me may not fit you from a product perspective, and you know, that's where you do you figure that out. I'm going to have to reference Tim Holtz in every video I do moving forward, aren't I? But I love that saying, so that's why I keep using it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I am going to work with these pieces. I'll let them sit for a couple of more days, and then I'll figure out what I want to do. Do I want to stencil them? Do I want to decoupage them? Right now, I don't know. I could put some stickers on these. I could put some tattoos on these. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. But anyway, I wanted to do this video for my one subscriber so she could see what, you know, happened when I did it, and using all the different colors. Have a great creative day with whatever you get up to. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, for all the tips that people are posting on my videos when I've asked a specific question. It means the world to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to other people who are reading the comments, who are looking for some direction because they themselves have a question that's come up for them and they're not really sure the direction to go in. So thank you very much for that. Again, comment, like, subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Take care, and bye for now.